Morning, everybody. I'm Beverly Bowles, the Head of Cyber for ScotlandIS, and welcome to Tech Tidbits this morning. We launched these last month, and they will be running every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month, from 11:30 until 12. As this month is Cyber Awareness Month, we're running one every week. These sessions are designed to educate you on areas that you may want to know more about, to encourage you to collaborate with the people that we have presenting, and potentially encourage you to innovate with your newfound knowledge. I'm delighted to be joined this morning by Kinga Kieczkowska. Kinga is a cybersecurity consultant and founder of Rada Cyber Security. She has a range of experience from security engineering to security consulting and architecture, and she helps small and medium businesses to secure their products and their operations. This morning, Kinga is going to explore what security posture is and how to effectively communicate your posture regardless of the industry you're in, or how far along in your security journey you are. Hopefully you leave the session with a clear idea of the steps that you can take within your own organisation to make cybersecurity and resilience a unique selling point for your business. Thank you. Kinga?
Thank you so much for this lovely introduction, Bev. And again, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me for this morning session. And yeah, let's begin. Hopefully I can move my slides. I just wanted to begin with a short introduction and to myself, just a couple of sentences about my experience and what kind of brought me to bring this topic to you today. So as Bev already mentioned, I'm a cybersecurity consultant, but I've also worked as a cybersecurity engineer and analyst and specialist, and I've had a range of different job titles, which were all quite general. And this talk especially draws on my wider understood experience working in internal security teams for SaaS companies. So companies that are in tech, but are not generally kind of technically minded and focused on security, rather general technology. And I've been kind of on both sides of the let's say barricade here. So I've been working in an internal security team of a company that gets procured a lot. So we would have a lot of conversations with our customers about our security posture and what our cybersecurity and resilience looks like. And I've also worked on the other side where I would be the person who is responsible for reviewing suppliers and their supply chain security in general, making sure that that down the line of our supply chain, the preferred security standard is maintained. So I'm also a founder of Women in Cybersecurity Scotland. Just a little plug here. It's a meetup that I run every few months. So if you're interested in that, please do find us on LinkedIn. But yeah, this is my background, and I want to start the talk itself with just understanding what cybersecurity posture is, because I feel like a lot of the time in cybersecurity, we might use jargon and terminology that is not immediately clear to people outside of security what is meant by this. So here I have the kind of classic definition slide. This is a definition by NIST, so the National Institute for Standards and Technology in the US, and they define cybersecurity posture as a security status of enterprises, networks, information systems. So basically, it's almost like a maybe I would say an assessment or a description of what your cybersecurity looks like. And there's a lot of talk in cybersecurity about improving your security posture, streamlining your security posture, all these different things. But basically, when I talk about cybersecurity posture, I just mean what you are doing in your company that has anything to do with cybersecurity, whatever state it's in, that is your security and cyber security posture. So now that we know what that is, why am I talking about cyber security posture communication and why it's important? So here I made this kind of graphical representation just to make it a bit easier to understand. The problem that we're grappling is we're already doing as as companies of various sizes, and I really truly do believe that we're already doing good things, right? There's already things we have in place, and even if there are things that aren't necessarily kind of brought for a security purpose, they still serve a security purpose as well. And there's no reason why we shouldn't kind of almost brag about it a little bit and make sure that our customers and our potential customers know about it. So maybe even you do enough of best practice and follow security standards that will allow you to make it your unique selling point, because maybe your competition isn't equally security minded. So what I'm talking about here are things such as information security policies or guidelines. Maybe that's more the medium-sized business thing, but even things such as MFA, so multi-factor authentication, password requirements, role-based access. Chances are, even in a smaller company, not everyone in your organization will have access to every possible system in your company. A lot of the time it's due to licensing fees and just general efficiency, but that is also part of security to ensure that the least privilege principle is followed, and everyone only can access what they really need to. So some of these will be, let's say, dual purpose. Things like cloud backups, like you might not see it as a backup, but if your company uses maybe a system such as Google Workspace, maybe you work in Google Drive, or maybe you work in Microsoft's OneDrive, and all your files kind of by default reside there and not on individual employees' machines. That's already another kind of point towards cybersecurity and cyber resilience, because obviously it guards you against things like device theft or device loss, or any other kind of device problems. So on one side we have yourself, someone who runs a company or works in a company that maybe doesn't have any certifications or any kind of more even formal security efforts, but is already doing cybersecurity things. And on the other side, we have a potential customer who has a number of obligations and kind of duties that require them to review your cybersecurity. So there will be, obviously depends on the industry and depends on the size of the company, but there will be compliance and contractual obligations involved. So maybe they are contractually obliged to keep a certain level of cybersecurity across their supply chain. There might be procurement policies in place that enforce that. Maybe they are in a highly regulated industry, such as critical national infrastructure or finance or healthcare, and they have kind of industry specific compliance obligations that they need to abide by. They will, so that's kind of the reasoning why they will look at your security posture communication. But also another thing is just they will have, like all of us, right, limited bandwidth, limited time and or resources. So they will greatly appreciate it, if not prefer in some cases, suppliers and companies who are clear and kind of forthcoming with their information about their cybersecurity resilience or wider understood data protection. So I talked a bit about why like what the problem is and like why this information needs to flow from you to the customer, but like what really, like what form can this security posture communication take? So I have a few examples here. And obviously what you end up doing and what you maybe want to focus on will heavily depend on what kind of business you are. If you are a a cafe with a website, you probably wouldn't have a security FAQ on your website, but you might want to have a privacy policy for people who use like an online ordering form or something like that. So obviously, when I go through those, please bear in mind that there will be um, different circumstances that affect what you might want to choose. But common kind of scenarios and common choices in, let's say, the world of tech businesses would be a security page. So usually it's just like a /security page that the company creates, and feel free to look around Google for any big companies you can think about, and try to find their security page and see what that looks like. It's usually a high level overview of the security efforts. It might include some badges or some certifications that the company already has, but also it doesn't have to always be certifications and kind of like third party validated validated let's say badges. Like it's here on the right, I included an example from AWS talking about their data center security, for example. So they have a very kind of clear, simple page. It could be a white paper or an FAQ, but like it has this form of separate short paragraphs on different topics where they really high level summarize what they do when it comes to all these different security, let's say, domains or niches. So you could do something like that, and obviously you don't have to go as much in detail as AWS does, obviously. But as I said on the slide before, you might already be doing a lot of the things that your customers are looking for, such as having password requirements, having MFA, having role-based access, and maybe what you really need to do is sit down and write it up in like a clear, a simple manner, so that it's easily consumable by them. Another idea can be a security FAQ page. It can be part of your security pages, and that can be based on your customers' feedback. If you're getting asked the same kind of questions a lot, it might be worth to kind of abstract that out and put it on a separate FAQ page. If you're maybe a bigger organization, a privacy and security center is another kind of let's say sub page on your website you could do, where you're linking that data protection part to it as well. You can add your privacy policy and any other maybe GDPR policies there as well. You could also use badges if you have any certifications like ISO or Cyber Essentials. Of course, put them on there, and that's why you got it, to be able to showcase it, right? So that will be the place to do that. If you are a technical company, a highly technical company, a blog or a social media posts about how you approach different topics within cybersecurity and resilience can be a good idea. Of course, that's less formal, and one might argue it's not as easily findable by the customer. But for the right audience, it can send a really clear message that security is a priority for you, and it can be viewed very, very positively. So if you are in a highly kind of technical space, that might be a good idea. Also, you could write white papers about your solutions, but again, that's, let's say, the next step, let's say, the next level after the basics. So what if you wanted to effectively communicate your security posture? Like, where would you start? What would you kind of do first? And I always like to start with the do's, let's say, just to start on a more positive note. And number one advice that I give companies is to rely on industry recognized standards. So there there's no need to reinvent the wheel, right? You don't have to come up with your own unique list of cybersecurity best practices. Use what's already out there. It's been tried and tested, and it's trusted by the industry. So I think things like cyber essentials. The Even if you're not yet going for the certification itself, you can download the list of audit questions. They are freely available online. You can Google NIST or CIS um, guidelines and different kind of checklists for the type of business that you're in, and go from there. Feel free to mention that this is what you're basing your cybersecurity efforts on in your security page, because that also shows proactivity in your cybersecurity strategy. So find the standard and see how you measure up against that. Another piece of advice that I like to highlight is to use clear and simple language. You don't have to get too much into detail. I'm gonna get to it in the don'ts column, but make sure that it's easily understandable what you're saying about your security. Because even if you yourself are a technical person or a data protection person, remember that on the other side, especially in a big company, there could be people whose specialism is supply chain. There might not be security or tech people at all, and they just need to get their information and their evidence as efficiently as possible, and overcomplicating, giving too much detail can actually be um, at that first step can actually be detrimental and more difficult for them to process. Another thing that I advise is to learn from others. So as I said before, go have a Google, read a bit about like other people's pages, look at how different companies do it. Obviously, I'm not saying copy anyone's ideas, but like you will, if you see maybe 3 to 5 of other people's security pages, you will kind of get the gist of what they look like, and what information gets highlighted there. And the last kind of proactive advice is to listen to your customers' feedback. So if you engage with a new customer and you get the same question a lot of the time, where do you store data, or what do you do, like how long do you keep my data for, then think about maybe abstracting it out, adding it to your security FAQ, and then you're also shortening your sales cycle ultimately, if a lot of the questions that you're getting repeatedly, the answers can just be taken from your website or other publicly available document repositories. That said, I want to just cover 2 things that are big don'ts when it comes to any efforts in this. So number one is obviously do not misrepresent what you're doing. It might be tempting sometimes to beautify things and say that kind of more things are in place than they really are. However, excuse me, you really don't want to do that, because that creates a huge liability for you, and you're effectively just lying to your potential customers. So that can't be good in the long term. It's okay to be on the journey. It's all right to kind of be in progress with your security, and proactivity will be appreciated as well. So make sure that you don't kind of oversell what's really happening. And the other thing to avoid is also oversharing. So make sure that anything that you're sharing um, is something that you're happy to be public, even if maybe you're only sharing with your current customers. Like you have to be mindful that this information can be made public, and basically, like in short, I would say, do not share anything that you wouldn't be happy sharing without an NDA in place. So that comes back to my point about being kind of general and clear, I think, and simple in your language. I really stand by my use of the word simple here, because I do believe it has to be simple and not overcomplicated. Obviously, you don't want to divulge too many details, and the let's say placement of where you draw the line on this will depend on your risk appetite. It's not a universal thing, but you could, for example, say we do have antivirus in place. You might not want to say what kind of antivirus, or you might not want to name drop any solutions that you use, but maybe you want to say that you use this type of solution, but not say exactly which one. So that might be, for example, what you want to do. I'm not saying you have to, but I know some companies did approach it this way. If there's a vulnerability in a specific tool, you are not kind of readily exposing yourself to people knowing about it. However, as I said, this decision is yours to make, where you draw that line. So that is it from me, and again, thank you everyone for joining me this morning for this session. This QR code just leads to my LinkedIn, so if you want to connect and ask any questions or just chat further, please do. And as Bev said, if you have any questions, please I think put them in the chat. Is that right?
Yeah, that'd be great if you could. I've got a few, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course, please. Let's go on.
So just firstly, when you're looking at the kind of common challenges that organizations face, are there any in particular that they face when communicating with their company's security posture, when you're talking to people that aren't technical? So if you're speaking to people that, and potential customers that maybe don't have an understanding of the different levels of accreditation and things like that.
Yeah, so I think that's why I focused a lot, and I always focus on it when I talk about it, on this kind of simplicity and really like high level abstraction of all these things. So I think it's kind of very good across the board to adopt this perspective of like being very general, because also you don't want to go into the detail publicly anyway, because that could increase your attack surface and be a risk in of its own. But also another reason for that is that your audience for these communications will probably not, at least not immediately, be a very technical person or even a security person. And I think that problem actually has two sides, because a lot of the time, if you work in a even slightly maybe like a medium company, like maybe you are not even the person who is talking to the customers, like, right? You will have non-technical people, sales professionals on your company's side as well, so they need to understand what they are talking about as well. So I'm a huge advocate for cybersecurity awareness. Like, everyone should have some level of awareness, but obviously not expecting people whose job is completely different to understand all different forms of encryption or anything like that. So I think that's why it's key to keep it high level and clear and simple.
And just on that, is there any way, or as if you got any examples of how you've been able to encourage organizations to adopt a security aware culture across all departments?
So I think in case of this particular problem with the security communication, we always brought it back to kind of the business, the wider business environment in the company. So we for us, the security team, when I say us, I mean security team, like, we care for the company to be secure. We want our customers to know that we're secure, but when talking to other stakeholders on both sides, we always kind of brought it back to the business. If the business is secure, that means it is more resilient, and that means less financial hits or disadvantages when something does happen, because the blast radius is smaller and it doesn't have such a big effect. So I think bringing it back also, as I said, to like things like the sales cycle can be shortened if you're the type of business where you have a lot of kind of smaller deals, a lot of customers, like it can take a lot of time to talk to each one of them and send them all, your Cyber Essentials certificate, or send them all answers to their common security questions. So I think that getting a bit of that awareness can really save you a lot of time down the line, and that is just good for business, right?
Yeah, amazing. And do you think, are there any emerging trends or technologies or best practice that you're aware of, or that organizations should be aware of just now, in order to ensure that their posture remains adaptive, sort of in the face of evolving cyber threats?
I think that that's a very, very big question, and I think probably a topic
You've
for
got 2 minutes.
another. Yeah, I have 2 minutes to solve security. I wouldn't want to give like specific maybe advice here, just because it will depends so much on the type of business that you have, the industry that you're in. But when it comes to like specific trends in the security posture communication, I do see that there's a lot of tools nowadays that you can use. And like, I don't want to advertise any tools, but there are tools that you can use where you build this sort of profile that you can share with your customers, that also some of them allow you to have different kind of let's say levels of security clearance. So maybe you would share more information with your existing customers. For example, if they want to see your pen test reports, every year or something, you can share that on like a more security cleared level. And you would have a public version as well, where you have some basic general information as well. So I see that there is more and more tools like that, and also tools that allow you to share or request your kind of standard industry security questionnaires. There are different questionnaires that you can fill in or be asked to fill in, and there are solutions for that. And yeah, I don't really want to advertise any of them. There's a number, and they are all different, so I don't have a clear favorite, but there are solutions that can help you with it. But whenever I get asked something like this, I also want to be very what's the word, careful with saying that you need tools, because I really think that for this, obviously if you're a medium-sized or big-sized business, you can get a tool to make it all more streamlined, but you really don't need it. Like the basics of it, you can do, you can just make a sub page on your marketing site that you already have, with just a little bit of information. Like, you really don't need a lot of like kind of financial involvement right from the start to start showcasing what you do in security. So I just wanted to highlight that, because I think sometimes it can get a bit intimidating when you think, oh yes, I can do this, but I need all that budget and I need all that time. And I think that you need way less than you might think that you need.
Thanks so much, Kinga. Yeah, I think you're right. When it comes to cybersecurity, the language and the landscape gets really technical, and it's getting the basics right first is most important. So we've run out of time. Thanks so much for that this morning. The webinar has been recorded. It will be up on the ScotlandIS website. If you'd like more information about ScotlandIS or from Kinga, then please get in touch. And don't forget that we'll have another tech tidbit at the same time next Tuesday morning, and hopefully you'll sign up for that, and we'll see you all again. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.